The deputy defense minister, Eli Ben-Dahan, newly appointed, I mean, we're talking about someone who went on record a couple years ago saying straight up about Palestinians, in my opinion, they're beasts, not humans. And he also went on to say, a Jew always has a much higher soul than a goy. So I guess you are among these goys with, lower souls, so maybe you just don't get it. All this explaining, it's just blah, 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 it's just fading into the background. Maybe you just simply can't understand it. He perfectly well, he clearly doesn't care if you understand it or not. He's talking above your limited souls, so maybe you don't get what I'm saying. So let me say it again. Ayelet Shaked, who, when they found those teenage boys' bodies, she said, who is the enemy? The Palestinian people are all enemy combatants. This also includes the mothers. Straight up call for genocide. And then the next day we saw the lynching of Mohammed Abu Khdeir. Now, it's funny, she went on in that very same tract that she posted on Facebook, she then went on to say, their blood shall be on all their heads, the Palestinians. Nothing would be more just. Well, clearly, these words were taken to heart by Benjamin Netanyahu, because when he formed the government, he said, who would be best to be justice minister? Genocide? Nothing would be more just? Let's make her minister of justice. And so it was. This is the minister of genocide or minister of justice in the new Israeli government. And of course, the education minister, who better to instruct the youth, to pass on important values to them than Naftali Bennett, who just said, I've killed many Arabs in my life, and there's no problem with that. Incidentally, he was not referring to people in combat. He was talking to people who have already been vanquished in combat and are disarmed and are no longer a threat and pose no harm to anyone, except he wants to kill them because he sees no problem with that. This is the education minister. Well, this education minister, no one really seemed to take note of how he was running his last election. In the months coming up to, in the last few months, as we ramped into election season, you saw him in public with this man, this bearded man, in the photographs. And again, it wasn't really remarked on, but I took note of it. And I noticed there were several incidences he was even meeting with him in the halls of the Knesset. Who is this man, Natan Natanzon? Well, the photograph you're looking at now is the former mayor of Nablus. And during, in previous decades, that bearded man I just showed you earlier, he was part of a group of Jewish terrorists who planned to bomb the Al-Aqsa Mosque, to destroy the mosque on top of the Temple Mount, the third holiest site in Islam. And as part of this plot to blow up the Temple Mount, they also carried out bombings. They attacked mayors of Bethlehem and Ramallah and Nablus, and at one time they attacked them all. And this man, they actually took off his legs. This is a photograph of at that time. And this group of terrorists that this man sat in jail for, it's not just he played a theoretical role. He went to jail. He sat in jail for years for, out and out planning a complete coup and physically bombing people who had no role in any violent act. This man is now the advisor, the political advisor of our education minister. Who better to instill values in the youth? This is what I'm left with. Well, I guess I should be thankful, because when Benjamin Netanyahu at the last moment before the elections, when he was worried that someone not as as racist as him, just a little bit less racist, but just almost as much racist. But when there was a fear that the candidate that posed the only threat to his continued premiership, it looked like maybe he wouldn't get into power. He was afraid. And so he appealed to his racist base, and he said, they're bringing out the Arabs in droves. Quickly, Jews, get out there, vote for our party. And so in this way, he was able to cull some votes from the further right-wing parties. And so some people who ordinarily would have voted for the extreme right voted for the slightly less extreme right. And that's how he was able to get in. And so he culled some votes from the right wing. But I guess we should be happy that Naftali Bennett didn't get everyone into government that he wanted to, because some of those that were on the list and who just missed getting into government, like Ronen Chauval, who started up what he called a non-partisan Zionist movement a few years ago, but an Israeli court established that, yes, once a group of left-wing activists said, your group is fascist, he sued them. How dare you call me fascist? Well, an Israeli court said, well, what to do? You kind of are fascist. So even an Israeli court found that this Zionist organization he founded is a fascist organization. This fascist just narrowly missed getting into the government. Another one I guess we should be thankful for that just missed getting into the government, Avichai Boaron, who just a few years ago published a tract where he openly, out and out, wrote, I wonder if they will also leave rounding up Amalekites into death camps to others. Time will tell. He was admonishing liberal rabbis. What? You're not supportive of our efforts to ethnically cleanse the country? Oh, you're wishy-washy. You're hippy-dippy. You don't have the guts it takes. I guess you're not even willing to round the non-Jews into death camps. Well, this is a person out and out calling for death camps, not concentration camps, death camps, just barely missing having him in the government. So that you can see where we're going. You see what's around the bend. You see what's coming up around the corner.